Yo, 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 what up, y'all? This is going to be a little short one. I really don't have a topic, but I wanted to get into the fact that, I did Matt Imp's show, Planet 412. Some of you might have seen. I know a lot of you have seen it because, um, between his show and Tim's show, my numbers have been bumping up, but I haven't been bringing content to my actual channel itself. So I kind of wanted to, for all the new people coming in, wanted to kind of introduce myself, let you know what I'll be covering, and just, kick it. Like if y'all come into the chats or the comments or whatever, that's cool. If you're not even seeing this, that's cool too. I'm not one of them dudes that's trying to get acclaim and fame from doing YouTube. I did my fair share. I did music for a very long time, and so none of that really has. It's not a part of what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? I just like to entertain people, and I like to um, spread the things that I know about and how I feel about certain things to individuals. And I don't think that's ever going to stop. I'm already a grandpa, but I can see myself being that old dude around the campfire that's like, and then you know what? That one time in 1977, I wasn't even born then, you know what I mean? Like, so I just always kind of seen myself as that type of individual. But I really wanted to get at y'all, especially the newcomers, let y'all get a taste. I only have a few videos that are actually on my channel, but I've done quite a bit of content on Strange Days Live. Go check them out; they're dope. Um, Tim Zoller, man, me and him kick it all the time. Like probably every couple days you'll catch me on there. So I'm not a stranger to the content. I'm just a stranger to doing my own. A lot of times I'll get down on anywhere from, man, to be honest, anywhere from Bigfoots to cryptids to religion to paranormal to UFOs to just life talking. I did one on Gen X. I that was one of my favorite, and I'm still going to do a part two. I got to get my brothers. They're like me. They're very how would you say it? Free spirited. Let's go with that. So you never know what they're doing or what they're getting into. So it's kind of hard to get cats like us on a schedule. Um, but yeah, I basically just wanted to kind of introduce myself and my channel to all the new subscribers and tell you that I'm blessed to have y'all. Um, I totally appreciate the support, whether you like it or not. Either way, negative or positive, support is support, right? No news is bad news, like don't matter if it's bad or good, it's still great to have people tuning in and checking the show out. Um, but yeah, man. So you'll find a bunch of different content here. Man, I can get into to especially horror movies. Hardcore. I plan to do a one on like 80s horror flicks. Like as you can see behind me, those are all autograph pieces from different people from 80s and 90s horror flicks that that I've hung out with, and and chilled, and like it looks like a lot of money, but I didn't pay for none of that. those those are basically just chilling and doing shots and hanging out with a bunch of other people. And but I'm very blessed and proud to be here to the YouTube community. I'm not as how would you say, PG as far as things go. Like I'll hang out, I'll drink some drinks, smoke my cigarettes, and just chill and basically put down what's on my nugget. So yeah, this is kind of just like I guess you'd call it like a PSA, like back in the day. you know, the more you know, you know. But so I don't really have an agenda tonight. I just kind of wanted to introduce myself to all of you new subs, and also thank you as I've already done. Um, but yeah, we're gonna be chopping it up. So I want to do. I got a couple things on my list that I actually want to knock out and do. I want to do like I said previously, the Gen X two piece. I want to do a couple of the other um, ghost stories and horror stories. So like when I was a kid, like my grandpa, he used to tell us, me and my cousin, all the time, like almost nightly. Every time we'd say, because we'd pretty much stay over his house for the summer, and he would tell us all these ghost stories and stuff because he grew up in rural town here, out here in Texas, and I'm from Texas. For anybody who doesn't know, Central Texas, basically. But he grew up in like very rural parts of Texas, Gonzales area, Bernie, and all that. So he used to always have these crazy ghost stories. So right after he passed away, um, I started, rewriting them and collecting them and getting them all together. And some of them are very spooky, scary, and I want to bring some of that back to life, and actually spread what he actually had to say. Even though he's no longer with us, some of those pieces, and I'll try to get my cousin on too. But it's weird, man. Like they say that one of the two biggest things or the biggest fears in life is dying and uh, public speeches for whatever reason. I never understood the public speech or the public talk. Like I said, I did music, so I never got, and I don't even think the first time I ever did a show, I got really nervous. I think I was just more concerned of remembering my lines and remembering how the songs went more so than being nervous by a crowd. There were times when you go in front of large crowds, like when I was a juggalo rapper, right? So like if you actually open for ICP or ABK or Blaze or something like that, like you would, or Twisted even, you get the jitters because you're staring at a sea of people, or if you're playing the Gathering of the Juggalos, like you get the jitters, but it wasn't something that I was necessarily nervous about. So I don't know if that was ever really a factor for me, but for a lot of people it is, and a lot of people I've invited on the show, and like even my mom's she's a man, like when y'all start listening to me, if y'all think like I'm an encyclopedia of knowledge, that I know a lot of things. Like, she blows me out of the water. You know, she goes so far as to like learn different languages to understand biblical scripture, or to understand what certain books are talking about in their actual own language, and then telling you that this word doesn't just mean this, it means three or four different definitions. And like, I tried getting her on, and she was even I talked about this on another show. She was even a dogman witness. And for those of you that don't know about dogmen, or like Bigfoots and cryptids, um, check it out. I don't want to run the time out talking about and describing it, but they're basically like, if you ever seen The Howling, that's what it is. It's like a big yoked up giant 8 foot tall werewolf looking thing. And I was going to Josh Turner's conference in Fort Worth last year. Excuse me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Dogman conference. And she's like, what? Like, what's a Dogman? You know? And I'm like, I said, check it out. It's this big, you know, blah, blah, blah. I gave her the description. And she was like, you know, like jaw drop, eyes got wide. She's like, I've seen one of those. And I'm like, what? When, you know, she's like, for those who don't know, like, you know, I'm very honest about my past and my history. Um, Early part of my life, I grew up in drug rehabilitation facilities, and we were in one at a time up in Fort Worth called Cinecor. And she said that they were all going up to, they were driving in a van up to Cinecor. Hey, Jackie, thank you for coming in. Um, and she was like, yeah, we were in the van, and I looked out the window, and that thing, it was running alongside on I-35 going up north, I-35 west. And so I was like, see, I'm not freaking crazy, ma. I told you. Like, so she was like, oh, that's what that is. So whenever I went up to the conference, I bought Josh Turner. He had 2 books out. One was Bigfoot, and one was about Dogman. And I bought, met and befriended actually both of them, but big time Barton Nunnally. Like, I consider him a brother straight up. Bought his book in Humanoids, and for anybody who hasn't read that book or doesn't know anything about it, I highly suggest you check out Barton Nunnally's in Humanoids. Very descriptive, very, very well researched book with a lot of very vivid and very, I would say, accountable stories. Like, there's some things that, like, when people say, like, you can watch like Unsolved Mysteries or something like that, you kind of know when like a story is half-assed put together, you know. But whenever you have certain descriptions about certain things, and whenever you're telling a rendition about an experience that separates it from an experience from a story, you know, so you know it's not just a bullshit story. You know it's something someone's seen, because they can literally tell you about where they were in their mind at that time. They can tell you weird definitions about it, like whether it had wrinkles in its freaking forehead, or whenever it screamed, uh if it was drooling or something. There's certain things. Hello, Eve, thank you for joining. um there's just certain things that you can tell that aren't scripted, that people, and also especially whenever you're listening to them talk in person, uh, the way they get emotionally charged about things. So you can actually see people be emotionally affected. You can tell they're going through trauma. It's not like someone telling you the story of Platoon. If you talk to an actual a veteran, and you can hear the pain and the shake in their voice and stuff like that. So I held all of those very credible as far as my own personal um, ideology and perception was concerned. So I really suggest those. Those are three very good books to read. There's countless others. I mean, like Lyle Blackburns and Martin Groves, like all those cats. If you're into cryptid, I highly suggest you seek these cats out and find them out, because there's this whole other world out there, and I'm not just classifying my channel to cryptids. Um, it goes all over the place, and it will continue to go all over the place. Um, I enjoy going down memory lane with y'all. I like to be able to yeah, Martin Gross stories. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But all those cats, like all the real good ones that you can really tell are, they're it's lovely, man. And it feels really good to be in a place that you really feel like everyone's being genuine. It's not like, I don't know, man. It's you're not going to see David Copperfield. You know what I mean? Like you're actually like at a point where people are, you can tell they went through it, and it's refreshing, and it's uh revigorating to actually be able to know that these people are emotionally genuine about what they have to say about the things that they have to say. um so yeah, so same with mine. Like I went on Planet 412 the other night. I got into some of the ghost stories that I went through as a child. I went through so many of them. UFOs, I haven't even touched on the UFO thing. uh I had one incident. I'll try to bring my cousin on. There was like, I actually have like one of my homies that I still talk to. He's actually going to be out here maybe Saturday night, um, where it was like 12 of us, and we pretty much, I don't know if we got abducted, because that's kind of far fetched to say because I have no proof on it. But we did have about a 3 hour missing time window, and we were, I'll go ahead and say it. Why not? We got some time to kill. Um, so like literally right behind my house, before my house was even here, that was pretty creepy, right? Yeah. Over the baby monitor, yeah. Um, right behind my house now, but this is way. I was like, and maybe 14, 15. I don't even think I had my car yet. I might have. So right around there, we moved out to the country. I was a city kid. Um, and my pops, he built like a, because we were Gen Xers. So it was kind of like, now that you're out in the country, there's nowhere to go hang out. So I'm going to build y'all a place to go hang out to get the hell out of the house, stay out of the crib, and, so he built this. It was like basically a platform up in this tree. It was about 20 feet high. It had a bottom latch that you pop up, and then you could jump out onto the platform. And all of our homies, we'd go out there and hang out, go out there and smoke and drink, Mad Dog 2020 and chill. And I'm just playing. I don't think we were actually drinking Mad Dog 2020 by then. I think we were actually on the whiskey. But So there's like 20 of us, and my cousin, he actually at that point in time, is before he went to the military, he was a completely sober cat. Like he might drink or something or whatever, drink a beer or two, but he wasn't like a drinker. He didn't, partake in any illegal substances. He didn't smoke any weed or anything like that. And um, so we're out there, and this is back in the gap where right now I have neighbors. Like I can look across the street and I got porch lights and stuff like that. Back then there was nothing, like as far as the eye could see. You were just way out in the boonies. And so we go up there and hang out. And one night we're there, and like, so literally, if I'm looking in the same direction, that's kind of where I was at. And this UFO, whatever you want to call it, light in the sky was like zigzagging up and down, And there was a group of us, and we were like, all right, we had flashlights because we're out in the woods. And we were like, all right, let's start blinking our flashlights at it. So started flashing our flashlights at it. And this thing, when it's weird, it's hard to say. This thing, when it kind of like turned and pivot, but there was no like light source coming from it, but it illuminated everything that was around us. It illuminated the tree branches, illuminated, like, it was just very, very odd. It wasn't like a searchlight, it wasn't like a spotlight, it wasn't like anything like that. It was it just kind of glowed up everything around us. And like, I got people to testify to this. This is not any kind of BS. And then it lit us all up. And this is like about midnight, 12:30, maybe max 1 o'clock in the morning. And when it zapped off and it shot away, it was like 3 in the morning. And I'm not saying this because we had cell phones. We didn't have cell phones. This is probably like 1994, 95, maybe max. But everybody got physically sick. Like when I was talking about this story to my homeboy, he was like, dude, I remember hearing, that was the first time I ever heard, puke hit the ground from like 20 feet away. Like, because we were physically sick and nauseous, and it affected us to the point where, like, some of us remembered being like frozen in a spot. Me personally, I just remember seeing it, and I remember just going out. And then I remember it looked like the last scene in Platoon, like everyone's laid out and everyone's, sick as a dog. And that was it. We weren't even, it might have been radiation. I mean, I know this. Uh, I ended up, like, not too many years later, I ended up having an overdose, and they took me to the ER and everything, and I ended up having a MRI, I guess you could say. Is that the one where they take the whole picture scan of your body? And they were like, so when did you have your spleen removed? And I was like, what? I was like, I've never had my spleen removed. Only surgeries I had up to that point, I had a broken arm. I had my tonsils taken out. Just minor stuff like that, like regular stuff you go through as a kid. And they're like, yeah, you don't have a spleen. And I was like, so I was born, and they're like, no, people that are born without a spleen, they usually have like there's certain symptoms that they have. And I was like, nah, I have no clue what you're talking about. Like 100% no clue what you're talking about. And they're like, yeah, well, something, and I ended up telling my cousin that because I called it and I was all, this is just to show you what kind of cat I was. Yeah, I have no scar. And but so like someone told me when you go to the MRI, like tell them that you're claustrophobic because they'll put you in that tube thing and then they'll have to give you like Xanax or something to calm you down. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm claustrophobic. So I ended up calling my cousin up afterwards. And I was like, I must have sounded like, 6 sheets from Sunday. And I was like, hey, man, he told me I don't have a spleen. And he's like, dude, he's like, the UFO. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And it took me like a couple days. I didn't even understand what he was trying to say. And he was like, whenever I'd kind of regained, you know, my composure, I was like, yeah, man, talking to him on the phone. And he was like, dude, you remember the UFO, blah, blah, blah. He's like, what if, I was like, nah, dude, I'm not, like I wasn't ready to subscribe to it. I was like, nah, I'm not like a organ donor for the freaking reptilians or the UFO dudes. Like, nah, that's not happening. Cause, I wasn't a skeptic because I've seen a lot of UFO or oddities in the sky. Like in fifth grade, me and my buddy Ryan, I think in one summer we probably saw like 15 or 16 spacecraft. I saw a black triangle before, like 15 years before I knew what the black triangles were. And then I was watching like, I don't know, some show on TV. They're talking about the black triangles over Phoenix or whatever. And I was like, oh, we've seen one of those, And I called him up and I'm like, dude, they're talking about that. Remember that thing we saw? Because we were laying down in the back of my pop's truck looking up and you could see the black shadow, like killing the stars as it was following, and I was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no way, dude. And I'm like, I'm just telling you what I saw, on TV, and that really matches up to what we saw. So I was no stranger to it, is I guess was what I'm getting at. And uh, so I was like, man, nah, they're not. I don't really subscribe to the whole fact that like they were organ harvesting my my ass about stuff like that. It just seems so far out of the realm of the way I thought. I thought you could see the phenomenon, but you're not going to really get abducted. You know what I mean, or anything like that. And I'm still not sure. I'm still not going to say, yeah, I got abducted by a UFO one time and they took my spleen. I'm just saying it was a very weird experience, and a lot of the things they really didn't add up to what was going on in my actual life. Like it was very surreal, and I guess it still is because maybe I still haven't accepted it, if that was the fact. But I digress. I mean, I personally think it's 50-50, just like everything else out there. Could some of these, you know, UFOs or whatever, or some of them government projects, classified technology? Absolutely. Some of them could be demonic in nature or interdimensional in nature. Absolutely. So I guess that's with anything with the unknown, you don't really uh, kick it out of bed, so to speak, because you don't know. So how are you going to be like? I was listening to man, I think it was Paranormal Roundtable when dude was talking about how he hates when people think that they're experts on stuff like this. And I'm like, yeah, because like an expert is somebody that knows what they know, and they know it for a fact because they've studied it, they've researched it, they looked into it, they've seen it firsthand. If I can't claim to be an expert in chemistry if I've never touched a chemical. I can't claim to be an expert in. So like it's all still, it's in the ether. It's still all it's up for debate. It's up for um uh what would you call it? Untouchable pieces, of knowledge that you heard about. You've uh, heard of experiences. You choose to believe what feels right to you when certain people say it. You also choose to disregard certain things because it doesn't sit well with you. So it's not any kind of factor that I know what I'm actually talking about. I can just tell you what I've been through, what I've noticed. Same with the paranormal. Like when I was on Planet 412 talking about like my little brother, his apparition or ghost or whatever my mom and my kids have seen. I personally didn't want to, and when he died, the day he died, when he literally like died within minutes, I was like, I don't want any part of that. I don't come visit me. like like just don't come. No, I don't want to see it. I'll see you on the other side. When I see you on the other side, I'll see you. And I still hold those factors true. Like I don't want to play with the other side. Same reason why you don't play with Ouija boards or anything like that. Like, is that what it really is? Is who you think that what it really is? Like if someone comes to you and they're like, "Oh, it's me. I'm your best friend. Remember?" Like, is that really? Is that really your homeboy, or is that really your brother, or your aunt, or your uncle, or your grandma? So yeah, I did. Absolutely, I did. Yeah, because like I said, growing up with a lot of paranormal stuff, like it was more scary than it was positive. Like the only time I ever felt positive spiritually it was, and it's weird to say, was not even in churches, but just when you got on a religious facet. Like if I was doing like especially with my family, like if I was doing Pesach, which is Passover to people that don't know um, Judaic law or stuff like that. Like if I was doing Pesach with my family or Passover, like you feel that spiritual glow and that spiritual warmth, and that you're there. But every experience I've ever had that wasn't a part of that style of spiritual wellness or togetherness was always very frightening, and it was always negative. It wouldn't necessarily be malevolent, like it wouldn't be like intentionally scary. Like I've had some that were just literally trying to feed off your fear and your negativity. But I've never felt like a wholesomeness from any type of those encounters, other than like I said, being with family or, you know, and I don't even think like youth group or anything like that, or even when I was in like, uh, what is it? In Catholicism, you go through, dude. drawing a blank. Um, where you go through the whole school when you get into Catholicism. Uh, anyway, I digress. But yeah, I just didn't. I never felt like any of that wholesomeness about it. I always felt like the other side was a very weird and mystic piece in my life. Um, and most of the time, it wasn't necessarily negative, but it wasn't positive at one point. You know, one bit. You know, it wasn't for me, and I wasn't having it. And so, yeah, when he died, I did, and same with a lot of my family members, especially after that died. His was also the last open casket that I ever witnessed because that's when I could actually see the husk of a person versus seeing the spirit that was within them, you know, and I wasn't a fan. You know, I'm like looking down and that's not my brother. That's, you know, it's just a physical form, you know, but he's not there. Same with my great grandmother right before he passed away. Um, so I very quickly came into the belief system or the ideology, whatever you want to call it, that that's not them. They've moved on in spirit form, and it's uh, what you're looking for is not going to be there. So you learn to just move on, and you move on and away, and you, of course, you hold your memories and you hold your residual inside. But as far as that being the individual that you once knew is no longer there. So, but that also increases your belief system, you know, into an afterlife and into spirituality, and that the physical form isn't where it ends, and that you move on. You could go with like 21 grams. You know, I don't know if any of y'all know the 21 grams factor. Um, that same kind of concept, but that's more of a um, science-based concept where whenever they say that people die, that they instantly lose 21 grams, which is almost 3/4 of an ounce of the weight of the soul. Exactly. Um, so you can go on it by um, a logical side as well as a spiritual side. But to me, proof is in the pudding. Like if you've known someone their whole life, you know, then you know when they're there and you know when they're not, you know. And it really didn't help too because my little brother when he died, he was probably about 8, 9. Um, he was born blind, deaf, and mute, and he had a flipped chromosome, so he would never really. He was basically terminal. They gave him like 6 months to live. He ended up living until he was like 8 years old, and he had a trach, a tracheotomy. So like he never had a closed mouth. He was always, and like, oh, that's a crazy one too. He would like smile like into the world, into nothing. He can't see, he can't hear, he can't speak, but he would see things and you could tell, and he'd be looking around and he'd be smiling like angels were kicking it with him, you know. Get choked up. Stupid. But yeah. And uh but so like he never really had a closed mouth, you know what I mean? And then, just like when they do open caskets and stuff, they like sew your eyelids shut and they sew your lips shut and stuff like that. And so it was so weird seeing that concept. So I would say I don't know if that's what I was seeing because I saw him in a different physical light, physical or a physical visualization of him. But it wasn't just that, like everyone that I've seen before him that passed away, they just didn't look right. I mean, you can look at like take celebrities. Look at Bruce Lee, like when he's in the coffin. Like it doesn't, you can see it's him, but it doesn't look like him. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that that essence is gone. And so to me, that's hardcore proof that there's something beyond just your physical presentation or your physical being versus seeing a difference in when a life is in you versus when it's out. You know what I mean? It's a very real thing. And with a lot of the other paranormal aspects, like when you're talking like vampires or whatever, stuff like that, when people see these things or they see like a person, they just know it's not right, and they know that they got this like suspicion that's them, but it ain't them, like a doppelganger or anything like that, demon inhabitation. Um, it's because you're actually seeing a different spiritual form inside their physical being, and that's what throws you off. That's what makes you feel like, no, I know that dude, but that's not right, you know. And that's how I really feel about um, how that works. But yeah, I don't want to drag y'all down that hallway too much. Like I said, I originally just got on just to introduce myself to the new subs and what we're going to be talking about, and we're going to touch on a lot of these subjects as I continue to progress, and I really do need to concentrate on bringing y'all more. Not just stories about myself, but stories about people that I know that are around me. Um, just things that, what up, William? Just things that people would like to hear. And because I know this subject or these subjects are very, very interesting. Like we all, because that's one of the biggest things. Like we all really want to know what's really out there beyond what we know from a fact or what we're told in a book or in school or how we're raised, because we've all seen things that don't add up to the quote unquote logic of the world. And that's what keeps us coming back, I mean, that's what keeps us looking for higher spirituality in the world. That's what keeps you going, looking at the Bible or the different religions that you get into or whatever. It's just one of those things that uh, you as a physical being are constantly searching for. And I believe personally that the truth is out there. We just all got to get together and add all of these pieces up and not circumvent from each other. And once we come into collaborations with each other, then that's the closer we can get to the truth. I mean? Just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a whole detective network to solve a crime. You know what I mean? It's not just on one person. So, or just one ideology of how things go in it. It should actually turn into people as a collective trying to figure out the truth. And that's all I'm really about. Like, I don't care about the clout. I don't care about the numbers. Um, I got 3 people in here right now, and that's cool as anything, dude. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's 3 people that are actually, listening to what I have to say when they could give two craps about what I got to say in the world. So to me, that's amazing. It's not a, it's not a clout factor. It's all of us coming together and figuring out why are all these questions that we have, and how can we all get together and help each other solve and give answers to those questions. Because if I go, oh, I got a piece of it, and then one of y'all jump in and you're like, oh, I got another piece of that. Oh, I seen the shadow man. Oh, I seen the shadow man. Well, your shadow man had a top hat. Mine didn't. Blah, blah, blah. And you can start putting it all together. What time was it? Oh, 3:00. Oh, it was 3:00 in mine too. You can actually start, like solving this puzzle together, and, knowledge is power. Isn't that what they taught us in the back in the 80s? And because knowledge is power. That and it's 10:00 where your children at, that was a good one too, but yeah. And thank you all for coming in. I'm not really in it right now, but I continuously give my praises and thanks because nobody has to listen to me. I think people are haunted, not houses, activity home. I agree, and I've had opposite. I lived in a house that once I left it, I didn't have any issues, but I do believe that this is your brain. Yeah, that was classic. But I did have homes that I lived in that once I left them, I had no more issues. But yes, I do believe that people carry around residuals, and I do believe that people carry around a very dark and negative cloud upon themselves. And that negative energy, it spreads. It spreads like wildfire. You can let someone in your house, and instantly you get a negative oppression because it just like looms over everything. And I've also been in locations where, like actually the neighbor, I think I talked about this on 412, but I lived in a neighborhood where like my house was haunted. My homie Mike and John, they lived right behind me, like literally over the privacy fence behind me. Their house was haunted. The kids that lived catty corner, David and Daryl, their house was haunted. Like it was just like all over that entire neighborhood. So yeah, that I believe that was a location thing. And also, like I was saying on Matt's show, that entire neighborhood was set up with like Indian names, like it was like Comanche Trail or Indian Head Drive and blah blah blah. So like and it was like right on the edge of a creek. So, well, I mean, it was about a mile from the creek, but so was that like a spot that people did dirt on and caused a lot of negative energy. Like same if you go to like Gettysburg, everyone talks about, oh, if you go to Gettysburg, you'll see, tons of Civil War ghosts and blah, 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 because it's in a place where a bunch of negative energy resonated. And, and I believe that energy persists because energy never dies. Energy just continues. So, you think about just like the same way a car works, you have fuel that goes into it, combusts, and it becomes smoke, and smoke comes out of the tailpipe, and but that what went into the car and what came out of it is the same thing. It's just in a different form. So it never actually dies. It just transfers. So I believe locations can have that, and I believe people can have that. Absolutely. Because I've had people around me that just. You ever have that dude at the party that just like drags the whole party down? You know what I mean? Where you're like, you're chilling and everyone's, you know, drinking and having fun and blah blah blah, and you just got that one negative dude or chick or whatever that just like drags the whole mood down. And you're like, dude, how could you have like 12 positive people in here and you can have this one negative ninny that's just like really sucking the life out of the whole freaking party? And it's like, girl, it's time for you to go. Or dude, you got to bounce, man. I'm not rolling with all that. So I believe it goes in both ways. And I believe locations also, like in I don't know if y'all know about the train tracks in San Antonio, but like my wife, she's from San Antonio, and that's a really big thing down there. Jack. But yeah, so that'd be rolling. Uh, I got a tear. But yeah, so there's like these famous railroad tracks out in San Antonio, and so the legend has it that this school bus was going over the railroad tracks and it stalled out, and a train hit and killed all the kids and everything in it. And it's like famous. Like I think it was on. I even seen it in like one of those William Shatner's. Uh, he's what's weird or what is the truth? Yeah, kind of shows in San Antonio there is this train track. Blah, blah. But sorry, I did a horrible William Shatner impersonation. But so you can actually go there, and like if you park your car on top of the railroad tracks and leave it in neutral, you can go either coming this way or coming this way. And it's not on a hill, it's on pretty flat ground. And something will push you over the train tracks. It'll get you off the train tracks just enough to where your vehicle's off of it. And people have even gone there and they'll put like talcum powder. It might have been Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, probably multiple of them. I've seen tons of them. But it'll literally push you off the train track, and they'll put like baby powder or something on the back, and you'll see little kids' handprints that actually like pushed the trunk of your car and pushed you off the train tracks. So there's a bunch of those in Texas. And one of the things I say, Texas and Ohio are very very high what would you call it, supernatural hot spots, where there's like this is a recurring thing in the story. Probably, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, there are these supernatural hotspots, and where a lot of weird things take hold, like Marfa, Texas. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Marfa, Texas. It's like close to the border. But you can go there any night of the week, and it's called the Marfa Lights. And you'll be out there in the middle of nowhere, and you'll see glowing green orbs and orange and lights floating all over. And they're like, oh, that's the highway down the, it's like, nah, I've seen plenty of highways. Like, nah, that's something totally different, and is it a like a covert military base or something like that, where they're doing experimental, aircraft or whatever? Maybe, could it actually be a paranormal hotspot? Maybe. Yeah. I'm not kicking none of it out of bed, because that's not my place to do so. My place is actually just to learn about it as much as I can, and then help other people understand what I know about it, and then we can all make our own conclusions to however we feel about it. And especially if you feel a certain way about it, if you're watching, because I've been there plenty of times where you're watching and something just strikes you odd, and and it chills you to the bone. And the same person, another person could be watching the same exact show or hearing the same story right next to you, and they're not feeling it. They're like, man, that's all crap. Yeah, blah blah. But you're like, nah, that touched me, like, and maybe it awoke something inside of you that you relate to, because even if you don't really remember it, um, was actually a part of your life at some point, and that you resonate with that. And when I say resonate, I believe in that highly as well. The frequencies, the spiritual frequencies, and physical frequencies, the veil, all that stuff that really comes into your life, and doesn't just trigger something in your memory, but it triggers something in your soul, something that you vividly remember going bad juju or good juju or whatever, but it doesn't touch here or here or here, but it touches here, and it. And I think that's, the most important part. When something touches you internally like that, it's no longer a coincidence or a memory. Now you're talking something that was um, getting to you on a spiritual level. Same thing like when and for those who aren't Christian or whatever, do your thing, man. I got no hate for it. But like, same if you're like doing verses of the Bible or whatever religion that you're in, that certain things jump out at you and they touch you internally, and a lot of these paranormal aspects will, for people who've seen Dogman and Bigfoot, like, it touches them inside. It's just not a recount of a memory, like, oh yeah, I remember watching, Silver Bullet. Yeah, I remember the giant werewolf thing, which is an awesome movie, by the way. Anybody who's ever watched it, one of the greatest freaking movies ever. Almost made me want to have a wheelchair just so I could have one of those freaking motorcycle wheelchairs. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. It's on an energy level. It's not on a physical plane, you know. Um, but yeah. So anyway, how long have I been on? What are we looking at? Going on 1 hour right now. So yeah, man, I don't want to talk y'all's ears off and bore y'all. If y'all got any questions or anything, throw them up in there. I'll be happy to answer, or chit chat. If not, I know it's 1:17 here in Texas, so not sure where it is where y'all are. But I don't want to keep anybody up. And I know y'all could just be like, "You're not keeping me up. I'll just shut your show off." But so yeah, I just don't want to bore y'all to death. My initial point in coming on was just to say hi to everybody and thank everybody for coming in. What up, Two Shadows? Good evening. But yeah, so if y'all want to chit chat, I'm down to chit chat. If y'all, if y'all like, dude, I got to catch some Z's, and I know it's a weeknight. It's not a weeknight for me. To me, it's a Friday night. So I'm just hanging out, and yeah, man, just let me know where y'all want to go with it. I have no issues either way. But I do extremely thank Jackie, William, Eve, Two Shadows, you too, man. I really thank y'all for coming in, dropping in, and saying what's up. It really means the world to me. And like I said, not as numbers, just as um, fellow people to talk to and hang out and have a good time about. Because I don't look at YouTube as like a platform. I look at it as like a social gathering more than anything. So it's not like this is my show and y'all should hang out. It's like let's kick it and party. That's dope. Graveyard shift. I remember that. I love graveyard shift. Jackie, I don't know when my next show is going to be. I think Saturday night. So I got a buddy coming in. He was actually wanting to do some of the treehouse when we got, I guess, if you want to call it abducted, when we got UFOized. Um, he's going to come out. We're going to work on some of the software on the studio a little bit. Like it's still a little grimy. Like my pictures aren't really in focus. He's a great software dude, so he's going to help me out and get like my my input output. Because so the way I got it now is I got it going through like a professional mic through a soundboard into my computer. But like the computer's actually Windows is trying to actually do more work than it needs to do. It needs to kind of shut up and let me be able to control all my own audio equipment and to try to get like a noise filter blocked out. Like when I did the if y'all seen the Bat Camp Attila Twisted Terror, like my audio is way off on that one. Like I had like a really high buzz in it. I tried to mask it out. I tried using filters, so I had to do a lot of work, and it still sounded like crap. Like if I listen to it on my stereo in my living room on my TV, all I hear is and then like I talk and then the blah 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 and then the blah blah. So I'm trying to get rid of all that stuff and trying to filter out the best I can. So I'm pretty sure we'll probably be on Saturday night, even if it's just like a test run to get my level straight. And eventually, God willing, like all this stuff behind me, it's going to be in high def. It'll be actually a lot more crisper, clean. I'm probably going to have to cover up. Where is it? I can't see. I can't even find the spot. Yeah. I have Carolyn Williams' nipples somewhere over there. Yeah. Yeah. Probably have to cover those up just for YouTube because by then it'll be in a lot more focus. But just little stuff like that. So I can actually have the look and the feel the way I want it. Get my bass tones right because my voice sounds way different than it does on this microphone. And it's really weird because I used to use this when I did music. I used yeah, some of them are like they're all like actresses and actors that I met, throughout the years. Like it's pretty funny. Like the chick by the skateboard. I can never get this down. Like that chick, that's the she was the little girl from Halloween 4 and 5, the little silent chick. So like these are all actors and actresses and stuff from like old horror flicks. Like where is it? Yeah, see, I can never do that. Like, that's like Frankenhooker from the 80s. That's the dude Michael Berryman from the original Hills Have Eyes. That's the chick from Friday the 13th Part 5. I think that's the is that the Jason Lewis chick, or maybe that's Freddy's daughter from Freddy's Dead. the original, or not the original, but Chucky, the dude who played Chucky. The It one is dope. That's actually an artist rendition. His name's Brian Clegg. You should check him out. He's Brian Clegg. He's also known as the Master of Villains. He did that one and the Lopan. God, I hate that shit. Lopan right up there from Big Trouble in Little China. He also did this one right here, which was a Toxic Avenger, Circus of the Dead. But these are all autographed pieces from like the actors and actresses. So like it's not just what do you call it? Flavor for the piece. Like I actually got, where is it? Damn, I can't do this. The Creep Show behind me. Down somewhere down there. Yeah, that's the original Creep Show book from the movie Creep Show. That's Suzanne Snyder from Weird Science, the blonde chick. She's really sweet chick. She's awesome as shit. And this is just like one wall. I literally put this whole wall up just strictly for the studio. But if I ever take y'all like on a VR tour through my house, my entire house looks like that. So like my bedroom is completely full of autographs and all that stuff. Oh yeah, no, that's the Jason one. So the one next to the It, that's from the dude that directed Friday the 13th Part 6. And the one next to the Frankenhooker chick, way over here, that's there you go. That's the daughter of Freddy Krueger from Freddy's Dead. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff like that. But yeah, I'll literally take you on a trip to it. And like in this back corner where you can't see nothing. Jesus, I hate that reverse shit. Those are all personal pictures with all of them, you know, because what I'll do is like we have a convention called the Cult Classics Convention that we do every year. So for those of y'all that don't know, my wife's actually the pit master at the gas station, which was the location that they filmed the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so it's like a horror hotspot. And they also throw an annual convention called the Cult Classics Convention. And since we both work for them, I work at their other shop. She works as the pit master there. So every year, whenever all the actors and actresses come down, we all party with them and hang out and just get toasted. Like this year, like last month? Yeah, or no, it's this month. It is March 1st through 3rd. Dude, I don't even remember. Like I remember being upstairs hanging out with everybody and chilling. And then like next thing I know, I'm like downstairs at the lobby of the hotel and I'm smoking a cigarette and I don't even know what's going, like I didn't know what was going on around me. And like I'm hanging out with like, you know, one of the dudes from the Greasy Strangler, and like I had no clue. I was just so out of it because me and this other dude, we started drinking Australian whiskey or something, and like I'm a rum dude, so like, you know, if you mix your booze and you're not used to it, you're totally out of there. And so I like literally was. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And one of the dudes, he's like, Breezy, my homeboy Kirk. He's like, Breezy, do you like make up your own language? What are you talking about? And I was like, you know, I got no clue. So yeah, it's a blast, man. If anybody like who's in Texas or near Central Texas or can get down there, man, I highly suggest it. Actually, next month in April, we're doing at the gas station. We're having uh, um, Jason Voorhees from Part Two, the actor that played Jason Voorhees. He's going to be out there doing autographs and stuff and hanging out and chilling and partying. Damn Australian whiskey. I tell you what. Yeah, it's great, man. And he was a bearded lady too. I'll go ahead and I'll disclose the nitty gritty. Dude was a bearded lady. And like me and him were like chilling and he was like, yeah, bro, blah blah. But he's like totally dressed chick style. Like no bullshit. Like totally dressed like a chick, had a dress on and everything, but a big. I can't even have a beard because I'm a native, you know. So he's got like this big bushy beard. He's like, yeah, dude. Anyway, smell like perfume and shit. Dude, it was great, great times. From what I remember, it was freaking awesome. But yeah, so if y'all can uh manage your way out, man, I highly suggest it. And get the VIP tickets. And I'm not just pushing it to push it, but at the VIP, so they'll usually have like we had all the Porkies dudes down. One of them actually passed away like 1 week before the convention, but we had like Meat, the dude that played Meat in Porky's. He was supposed to show up, but he passed away like literally a week before it. And but we had the rest of them down. So like if you get the VIP, you'll actually on the second night on Saturday night, we rent out the lobby of the local hotel where everybody stays, and it's like a second floor lobby, and that's all it is, man. You'll just be sitting there drinking and hanging out and partying with everybody, and before you know it, like um, the two chicks from Scream that got killed in the bathroom. Um, Dang, I forget her name at the time, and I'm not even gonna try to remember because I'll just go for like 5 minutes. And it's not because she was hot, but she was. But um, yeah, like everyone's just chilling, man, like on a cool level. And there's no I'm blah blah blah. Some of them are like that, dude, and I'm not gonna front. There are a few dicks that I've met that think that they're the shit just because they've been in like um, one B-rated horror flick. I don't know if y'all remember that dude. He was in Friday the 13th Part 6. He had like the ripped jeans. He was a cool guy. Um, he's actually John Travolta's nephew, and he was the one that they were in the RV getting it on, and he's like, all right, babe. And they go to get out of there, and Jason stabs him in the side of the head. And then that's the end of his shit. And it flips the RV, and then Jason climbs out on top of the RV. And that was the movie poster. That dude, total dick, dude. Yeah, dude was a total dude. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but he almost tested me to the point where I was like, dude, you don't get your ass kicked out in the country. Like, you're talking a lot of shit for somebody who doesn't know where they're at. And yeah, just don't, just shut up. But the next day, he was a cool dude. I'm not going to front. He was actually, I think he sobered up a little bit, and and that's everybody's right. We all do stupid shit when we get, toasted, and sometimes you grow a set on you that you have no business having in the first place. But yeah, yeah. So, but and some of them are like that. They're very standoffish. one of the dudes, oh, he was one of the bullies from, he was like the main bully from Back to the Future. He was like Biff's crony. The dude that grabs Michael J. Fox, he's like, Dork thinks he's gonna drown. You know that dude? Like, he's a cool dude, but like he's like, yeah, I want, $75 for my autograph. I'm like, dude, you're you're Biff's crony and Back to the Future. I'm not giving you $75 for your scribble. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen, man. Like, it's just not, dude. I'm not. No, you're cool, but you ain't $70 cool. Because like most of these cats, they give me their stuff for free. They're like, "Ah, oh, breezy, because we'll party and hang out." And so like, "Ah, oh, for you, nothing, man. Yeah, man, go ahead." Like this big poster I got, up, yeah, right here. That's literally got probably like 40 autographs on it. Joe Bob Briggs, Darcy the Mail Girl, that same dude from Back to the Future. I ended up talking to him about it. Dude, if I could actually like get a phone up to it one day, I'll show you all the people from all the people from Circus of the Dead. Like that was just a really cool piece that I got and finally framed and made awesome. But yeah, so if any of y'all can get down there, it's a great time. You'll have a blast. No qualms about it. Beer, barbecue, live music, horror movie people, left and right, and party all weekend. That's pretty much what it is. So it's not like these formal other conventions that people put out where, it's like you just wait in line for 5 hours, get an autograph, and then no one cares. Everyone actually chills, Texas style, and have a good time and party together. And I'm pretty sure, like I said earlier, I'm gonna do a 80s horror movie piece because I love the 80s. I loved growing up in that era. It was the best era for horror flicks. I don't care what anybody says. Um, it was just a very nostalgic time. Like, I'm sure all y'all remember that were growing up in that era, going to the mom and pop video shops and like seeing all the the videotape cassette artwork. The artwork was where it was at. The movie could have been crap. Like Trolls or Trolls 2, like total crap fest, man. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm 78 kid myself. Um, but yeah, it's just like it was so nostalgic, man. That you don't even care what you're like, dude, look at this guy. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Like we had that dude out. And it's just cool seeing all these cats and kittens that are coming to this. But I will tell y'all this, no bullshit. They're so fucking old now. Like you can't recognize who's who. You know what I mean? Like you're like, wait a minute. You kind of recognize somebody, and then you're like, I know who's supposed to be here, but I don't really recognize that dude. And then you're like, oh, it's the dude from Eddie and the Cruisers, or Streets of the same dude from Streets of Fire. You're like, oh, that dude, yeah, I know that dude. We did the Warriors the year before. We had all the Warriors down, which was a dope piece. So I'm like sitting around, so surreal, sitting around doing shots and hanging out with all the Warriors. Like, man, it's just cool as shit, dude. And I'm not like bragging on my shit. I'm just saying it's opening up for anybody. It's a really cool event. If you can save up the bread and get some vacation time, I highly suggest it because it's not like any of the other conventions that you see or go to. So you literally find yourself just chilling with all these people that you grew up with, and that you didn't really realize you were growing up with until you're seeing them, and they're the mom from Nightmare on Elm Street, the original mom from part one. She was there. Coolest old lady ever, man. Like that chick, she was just like just down to earth, cool as hell. Like she couldn't really stay. She's like in a walker now, you know what I'm saying? So she can like stay and hang out, party and stuff like that. But when she was at the convention, she was just a really bomb ass lady to hang out with. Like, and so you find all these souls, these kindred souls that you recognize from, um, all these old movies that you watched when you were a kid, and never when you were that young would you even think that you'd actually be hanging out with these people, or kicking it or anything like that. You would never even fathomed it. It's cool, man. I suggest. I heard we were gonna do a Revenge of the Nerds reunion, but they ended up like double booking or something, so we didn't get them. So we got the Porky's dudes, but those dudes were chill. They're really cool people. Um, and then you get to find out like which ones like had to sober up. And they're like, yeah, man, I used to party all the time. I've been sober for 7 years now. And you're like, oh, really? Bummer. Like, like good for you. Like, don't get me wrong, good for you. That's fucking live. But it's just like, man, dude, like I never thought that I would have saw a Porky's dude that had to sober up. Oh, one of these in the background. Yeah, there you go. That's the light shining on him, so the glare's hard. That's Francis from Pee Wee Herman's Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the dude that stole his bike. And he looks exactly like he did back then. He's just old and skinny, like very, very skinny. So it's very surreal seeing a very skinny and old Francis. But yeah, man, yeah. But anyway, man, I've been talking y'all's ears off and talking about all this. But we're gonna get into some good shows. Don't get me twisted. I like to have fun. I like to be able to just chop it up with my people. I'm gonna let y'all get to it. I know it's almost 2:00 here. I'm not going to bed, but I know a lot of people need to. And I'm not trying to keep y'all up. But once again, I just wanted to come in and greet myself to any of y'all. I haven't seen my show before. Hang out with my people, so to speak. And I appreciate y'all dropping by. And keep coming back for it. Hit the notifications, because I literally don't really have a schedule yet. I was going like six to 7 days a week, so I kind of got burnt out. And so I don't really, because I want to eventually do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of format. But thank you, Jackie, for coming in. Thank you, William. Thank you, Eve. I appreciate it. But yeah, hit that notifications bell, and yeah, I'll be on. I just got to figure out my how I roll with it. You know what I'm saying? And what's good for everybody. And I don't want to stomp on other people's toes. I know a lot of people like going on at the same time, and it divides the community. Like, you want to catch Barton show, and then so and so is on at the same time, and blah blah blah, and you don't really want to step on toes, and not like I can step on anybody's toes because I don't have any followers for shit, but I got you on, I love you on, and I appreciate it. So don't think that I'm not saying that, but yeah, you want to get your prime time, just like back in the Gap, when you have 13 channels, you just want to watch the ones that are going to bring you the dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to do the HBO thing, but I suck. But anyway, one love. God bless. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep searching for the truth because it's out there and it's waiting to be found. So thank you truly and most humbly. Bless you all. Thank you.